Hello everyone. This is the first video on special characters in Linux and their application. So some of the special characters you have already seen in my previous videos, so here we're gonna just briefly go over them as we talk about all of the special characters, whether you have seen them or not in my previous videos. And so there are a bunch of them here, so I'll try to break this into two videos for you. So the first one that you have seen a bunch is the /, which is called the path separator. So it separates the path, right? For instance, look here, I'm in the basically home directory. If I look here, I have downloads, right? And I can go to downloads right now. Look here, and if you look here, now I have this folder LPG4, so now I can go to LPG4, right? And if I look here, there is another subfolder, so I can go further in, go to Linux Pocket Guide, right? Actually I did a ls of that. I should have done a cd like this, right? So you see that this // is to separate the path, and you might say, well, how would you use it? Well, instead of doing the CDs one at a time, I can do it all at the same time. So for instance, I can go all the way back to the home, right? And then instead of saying CD downloads like this, now I can say also go down to LPG4 and also go down to what? To the Linux Pocket Guide. So it does all of them at the same time, you see? So this is what we do with a path separator. Okay. The next thing that we have and we want to talk about is a dot and two dots. So two dots means go back to the previous level by one level, go up by one. So if I say cd dot dot means go back one level, so go back to LPG4. Look, another one, right? Go back another and then another, correct? So I can go one level at a time, or as I showed you, I can go all the way back just by saying cd, correct? So double dot means go back one level. Now what about single dot? Is there a single dot? Yes. So a single dot means stay in the current level. Basically it's referring to the current level. So if I say cd1 dot, basically it's not going to do anything because it has to stay in the same level. You see? It's not doing anything. So you might say, okay, what should I do with this dot, right? Is there any use to this dot? The answer is yes. Let's say you have in this current folder, you have a .sh file, right? And you want to run that. You have a bash file, you want to run it, and you can do this. You can say dot and then slash, and then let's say I have a file called test.sh, and when you click on this file, this text file, which has a bunch of commands in it, this is going to run, right? So this one means this file here, this test.sh, is in the current level, which means among these files. Now you see right now I don't have any .sh here, so let me show you how to make one and then how to make it executable and run it and so on, because this part here has a bunch of details to it. So here I want to make a simple test.sh file. How do you make one here in Linux? The command is Nano. And there are other commands like vim too, but Nano is basically a basic text editor. So I say go ahead and nano test.sh, create one for me, okay, and open it up. Look, when you do that, now it takes you to the Nano. This is the Nano GUI, and you see the version is 7.2. So all I want to say in this file is, hey, echo, and then what? Like for instance, hello world, huh? Something very simple. That's all people who learn some language, probably the first thing they learn is this guy. Now, is that gonna run? No. So before you do this, there is a primary line that you have to have, and this line is called shebang. So what is shebang? Shebang is what you're telling the Linux interpreter to what you're telling the Linux what kind of interpreter to use to basically read and apply your code. So the first thing that you have to say, the first line, is basically a pound sign and then the exclamation mark and then /bin/bash. So you say, in order to interpret this line and run it, go ahead and use the bash, right? Use the bash shell under bin or binaries and use that to interpret it. And you might say, well, what does that mean? Well, in another video, I'm going to talk about different shells that exist within Linux. Bash is the most common one that we are using right now all the time, but that's not the only one. There are a few other ones that you can either there exist, or you can add them, install them, and use them. And they are a little bit more newer and more advanced compared to Bash. They have auto-completion and so on. So right now we are using the basic one that we have been using so far. So here we go. And now this one knows that it has to use Bash, and then it has to run this file. Good. The same thing that you could do in the command window, right, in the terminal. Now you do it by saving it as a file and then running it. Okay, now I have to save it. How do I save? Well, if you go down here, you see the Control O says write out, which means basically save it. So here I do a Control O, and then it says file name to write. Is that the test.sh? You enter, means it is, yes. And now it is saved to this address, and now I need to get out, and you see the exit is Control X. So I do a Control X, and there we go, I'm out. Now, did I really create this file? Let's find out. So I say ls, and now look at it. Compared to last time, now look, I have this new file this time. Okay, now can I go ahead and run it with the technique that I told you? Remember, the technique was /, means in the current folder, and then what? test.sh, right? Would that run? The answer is no again. Look, it says permission denied. Why? Because this file here is not allowed to be executed. It's only allowed to be basically read and written, probably, huh? And if you want to make sure that it can basically be executed, you have to add that permission to it. How would you do that? If you remember from my last video on video 4 on special commands, the command was called chmod, right? So you say, hey, I want chmod, and then what? +x. What does it mean? Remember, plus means add to it, and x was execution, r was read, w was write, and then what? test.sh. So means that now allow this file to be executed. Now that it is allowed to be executed, let's see if we can run it. There we go. You see? Now, by running that, the content of it, which was just typing hello world to the screen, is being executed. Okay, so you see, even creating a simple bash file and running it needs you to go to Nano, needs to create the shebang, write the commands, then add it with execution with chmod, then with // now you can run it. Okay, so now we have seen what? We have seen // we have seen single dot, and we have seen double dot. Okay, what other characters we have? Well, the next one we want to talk about is // this guy, which is called the escape character. What does this one do? So look here, if I say echo, and then I say the price is $5, and then double quotation again. What should this do for me, right? By the way, let me just get out of here and go back to my original folder, my home folder. Now I do it again here. So hey, go ahead and type for me that the price is. Now if I don't use that backslash and I say basically $5, what would it do? Look, it did not type for me that $5 because that $sign is for a replacement substitution, which we're gonna see next. But if I want to exactly show this as if this operation does not do anything and just show it as pure text, this is what I do. I just add a backslash here, right? Now look. So when I say backslash, means whatever comes after it, don't execute it. Even if it's a special character or anything, just type it on the screen as is without paying attention to what it does. Okay, so it's called escape character. And you can see that it's quite a bit interesting, huh? Okay, what else do we have? Okay, the next thing I want to show you is the ampersand. This one, a single one. What does this one do? Well, this one will make some command that is running, or we call it a job, to go in the background and basically not bother the rest of the not be on the foreground of this shell, so allowing you to type and run other commands. So if I say, hey, sleep 10, right? This is a command also called sleep. What does it do? Look here. Can I type in another command and run it? No, because this guy here is gonna come to the foreground, does not let me do anything else until this 10 seconds is over, then gives back the control to the shell, and now I can run something else. But if in the meanwhile, while this guy is doing some sleep, I want to do some job, this is what I do. I say sleep 10 ampersand. What does it mean? It means while you're doing that sleep thing for 10 seconds, I still want to be able to use this, right? So look here. You see, now I can run another command again while that sleep is going on. So this means what? Take a job or command to the background and free up the shell for me to use other commands. Okay, the next command that we are going to use is basically double ampersand, or the logical AND. So this is to combine two commands and basically run the second one only if the first one is successful, right? Exactly like the AND between two numbers. The AND of two numbers is 1 if both of them are 1. So if the first one is 0, the result is 0, and you don't even need to care about the second one. As long as the first one is 0, that's it, right? So you only check the value of the second one only when the first one is a true or a 1. So that's the same thing here. Each command, when it's run, it's considered like a what? Like a logical variable. If it runs successfully, it is like a true. If it doesn't run and fail, it is like a false. So here you say, hey, make dir test. Go ahead and make a test folder or directory. And if it was successful, now go ahead and go to this test folder. You see? So first make it. If it was successful, now change the folder to it. Look here. There we go. You see? It did both of them, but first one made sure that this one is created with makedir, then you change the folder to that. Okay? Yeah? So this is the double ampersand. Now, what about pipe? Pipe, you already know it, right? The vertical line, or basically. This is when you want to send the result of one command to another one. And you have seen different applications for this, right? So you want to move the result of one command to another one. So you did a search or something and you want to send the result of that search to something else. You can go ahead and do that, right? But you can do several of them if you want, right? For instance, you say, well, who, remember, who does what? Who shows you the users, right? And then if you want, you can sort it. You say, hey, who gets that? And then send it to the sort. Let it be sorted. And you see now the way it is sorted is this one goes and replaces that seat, right? And then if there are a bunch of them here, you can send it to another one, to a command that basically extract the first column of information, which is AWK, and I can show you that also as well in the future. But you can say, hey, go to this, and then if you have several pages of users, give me only what? Give me only the basically first column of it, right? Display the result one page at a time, right? So you can do something like this. But in this case, I don't have those many users and so on, so it's not really, seems like I had one mistake. Let's make sure that I did it right. I guess I did, except this one, right? And you see that here I only have 2, so clearly that's all it does. But again, if I have several pages, this one keeps getting the result from who, take it to sort, and then from sort take it to AWK. Okay, so you can combine several pipes together if you want to. The next thing we have is the double pipe or logical OR, and you know it should be probably similar to the AND. What did the AND do? The AND ran the second command if the first one was successful. Now this one is the exact opposite. It runs the second command if the first one fails. So if the first one is 0, fails, in order to get it to hopefully end up with a true, it tries to run the second one. For instance, you can say cd, right? Let's look at the current folders here. So let's say here I have a bunch of folders, but I don't have a folder called test1. So I say go to cd test1, right? But that folder does not exist. If I do that, you know it is a failure. So this is now what I say. Try to go to test1, or if it didn't work, go echo and say what? Say, for instance, test1 directory not found, right? Check it, check the directories with the ls command. Okay, look here, you see? So this part is because of that failure, but look, when this one didn't run, it ran the second part and exactly echoed that whole thing for you on the screen, and this is the result of that. So this is the logical OR. There is another thing you can do to combine several commands, and that is the semicolon. Remember here, we don't use semicolon to terminate the display of running a command on the screen or anything like we do in MATLAB or C or something. Here we use it to separate several commands and run them sequentially. So first run the first one, then the second one, then the third one. So I can say what? Hey, echo, and then say 1, right? And then semicolon, and then say echo what? For instance, 2, and then basically semicolon, and then echo 3, right? So first it runs the first part, then second, then third. Look, you see? So this is putting several commands in the same line and running them from left to right. Okay, now that we talked about running several commands in a line by semicolon, I want to show you another one, and this is using curly braces. So this is also very good for grouping some commands together and running several things. For instance, if you look at my current directory, you see that I have 3 files. My file 1.text 2 and 3. So if I want to delete each one of them, I have to say rm and then what? My file 1.text, right? And then 2 and 3. So I have to run this command 3 times, each one changing the name of the file. Now, is there a better way to do it? Yes. If they all share the same thing except for the number, now this is what I do. I say rm and then I say my file, and then in front of the my file I'm going to open up the braces and then say 1 and then dot to 3 braces.text. What does it mean? Means go ahead and remove anything that is my file 1.text to 2 to 3. So this is an increment, and that is another thing that double dots do. This is an increment. So go ahead and delete what? Anything with those names. Look here. Now if I look at my current folder again, look, all of those 3 files are gone. You see, so I can group several commands, or I can make several files, right? Let's say I want to bring them back, so I say touch, right? Make 3 files, but with the touch. Look, now if I do ls again, there we go. You see, so I can group commands together and do it with the braces. Now clearly you see that inside the braces with those dots, seems like you can create numbers. So if I say echo and then say 1.10, what do you think this will do? Right? And put it, of course, in bracket. Would that really print those numbers for me? You see, no, it does not. So your question might be, well, how can I do it with the echo if I want to just print numbers 1 to 10 and I want to use the braces and those dots? Well, the answer is very simple. Get rid of those quotations. Because those quotations' job is to treat it like a text. But if you don't do that, now look, here we go. So make sure that don't put it in the quotation. Okay, so this was the end of video 1 on special characters in Linux. In video 2 we have a bunch of other characters. Many of them I have not explained in my previous video. So thank you so much for your attention. I'll see you in the next part.